Right, so tell me if you've heard this one before. Buy a property, it's a great investment. Or, one day if I have enough money, I'll buy a rental property and have passive income. Well, technically this is true, but it's never that easy. So where do we start? And how do we navigate these challenges when it comes to planning in order for you to be successful in your investment? In this video, we are going to explore some of the key topics, as well as what one needs to consider when planning and investing in real estate property. I'll also be sharing some tips from my experience in the real estate profession. Let's break it down. The best way to start this topic is, of course, to start with a plan. Like any other investment or business, the goal is to make it profitable, which is why you need to build a model that does not run at a loss. For the purpose of this video, we are going to discuss 5 main points which you need to include in your plan. These points are the cost and budgeting, the location of your rental property, the target market, pricing, and lastly, the maintenance and upkeep. Let's jump right into it. You need to find out how you can draw up a budget. The biggest cost which you will incur, of course, is purchasing the property. But also you need to account for the transfer fees and the lawyer fees when you are buying the property. You need to also budget for any maintenance and refurbishing that you need to do for the property to get it ready. Another cost that you need to think about is the cost of keeping the house, especially when you don't have a tenant yet. This includes your rates and taxes, your levies, as well as your utilities like your water, sewage, and lights. What you will notice is some of these costs are once off and some are monthly. This is something that you need to account and take note of when drawing up your budget. Another cost which you can consider is for agent fees, and this is if you do require professional services when you are renting out your property. Now, once you've drawn up the budget, you're able to determine how much capital you need to begin, as well as how much money you will need while you wait to get a tenant. It is important to establish this, as this will determine your price point in terms of how much rent you are hoping to achieve and if this is feasible for a profitable business. With any investment, you require capital. You need to know where you can source this capital. Here are 5 common ways which you can source funds. The first being from a savings, or you could apply and get approved for a mortgage loan. Another option is through housing subsidy and finance, or you could have an angel investor or a family member who believes in your dreams. Pro tip is to always go for the option where you use other people's money. Remember, the idea is to get a return on investment. So this will also benefit the person who is looking to fund you. With a well-executed plan, I'm sure you'll definitely find someone who will invest in you. Where do I start looking? Now, this is a common yet very important question. Where do I find this ideal property? Remember not to decide on a place based on your preference. You need to be objective when deciding on a location. Here's a general checklist of what you will need to look out for in looking for an area. For one, it needs to be an area which has the properties which are within your budget. The second is that there should be demand for housing or rental in that location. The area should be close to CBDs or areas of economic activity, and it should have access to transport and facilities. Lastly, it should have access to amenities like parks and shopping centers for easy convenience of your tenants. Pro tip, if you're starting out Ensure that you choose a location which is close to where you reside. Therefore, you can better manage your property, especially when you're not using a real estate agent. Who are you going to attract in your property? This, as mentioned, ties in with the location that you've chosen, as well as the economic classification or income bracket for your target market. Let's quickly recap. We have the low level, lower middle, upper middle level, and the higher level. Now this differs in every town, city, suburb, or district. So from that location, you need to determine what your target market is looking for in terms of renting, as well as if that said market has a demand. This information will also help you determine what your offerings is, as well as importantly, what your pricing model will be, and find a suitable, well-paying, and responsible tenant. Now at this stage, you know where to get your capital, you've drawn up your budget, and you've picked the location as well as the target market. So now, the vital piece of this puzzle is your pricing. Now, price is very important because this will determine if you're going to have a suitable tenant and whether your investment is going to be profitable. You want to avoid overpricing your rental in order to turn a profit because you are going to drive away potential tenants. But at the same time, you do not want to underprice for the sake of getting a tenant and then running at a loss. You need to find a price which at most gets you a suitable tenant and at least makes you break even or turn a profit. If you need advice on which price point you need to decide on your property, you can seek out the assistance of a real estate agent that works in that area. Please note that prices can change due to economic influences such as inflation and fluctuations of the interest rate. But it is very important in your pricing plan to ensure that you account for this. There are limits to how you need to increase or decrease your rental. Make sure you always find the balance between demand and profitability. Lastly, but make no mistake, this is equally as important, especially when you want to have a sustainable business. This is your maintenance and upkeep. We all know that things break or get worn out after long constant use, which is why it is important, and I mean very important, that you always are up to date with your maintenance issues. This is why I placed maintenance under your cost and budgeting. You need those rainy day funds and you need the capacity for certain inconveniences. If your planning does not take into account maintenance costs, this will eat away on your potential profits. Another thing to keep money aside is, of course, improvements. At a certain time, your property will be outdated and you may need some refurbishing in order to keep the standard of offering as well as not affect your rental price. The place is always in good condition for the next coming tenant. It becomes a good justification for rental price stability or even increase. The property keeps its value or improves it in an eventual case where you need to sell your property. Now, it's important before making this decision that you have the right attitude. This endeavor takes time, effort, patience, commitment, and most importantly, a well-executed plan. You have to follow through. You need to be intentional in order to achieve your passive income dream. If you'd like me to delve deeper into these topics that we've mentioned, or any other related topic in property, please comment down below. If you want to know more about the cost of building your home, click here. And if you want to see a latest home built by the Mokonyane Property Group, click here. Action. Right. Tell me you've heard this before.
Go back.